So in our search for more storage space in our house, I turned this into this. It was what I guess you'd call a dresser that was built into the back of a closet. It was really space inefficient, and it was really hard to get things in and out. And as you can see by the picture, there was a lot of space around the drawers, which was dead space. Sorry I didn't take a picture before I pulled the drawers out, but there you go. So the project really involved a few steps. First was deconstructing what was there. Now, I really like reusing materials as much as possible, and this was built with some good stuff, so I didn't want to waste all those materials. So I took it apart rather than tore it apart. Look at that. For some reason they used a different screw head, but that's okay. Still a nice frame. The top, the cap that was on the old unit, I just moved up, which added some more usable space. Again, that was just dead space, and there was a whole bunch of vertical dead space. And then I respaced all of the shelves like I felt like they would be useful for, again, using some blankets and things like that that are probably going to be in there. So respaced those, used the old framing as much as I could, well, completely used the old framing, and then I re-screwed those into studs to make them nice and sturdy. So worked my way down or up, I don't remember which way I went, put front face framing on it, so again it would be nice and sturdy. And then on this kind of to the 90 degrees of where the old unit was all this wasted space below basically the shirt line in the closet. So that's 4 feet of space that was just being used for nothing. So I added 2 shelves there that attached to the shoe or hat little unit that was already built in there. But that was a really cheap particle board, so I braced that and I framed it so the load actually would go down to the floor and attached to the frame of the main piece as well, so it'd be nice and sturdy. In order to make that wider span work, reusing the old materials, I had to glue and clamp some pieces together. And as you can see in the picture, if you're clamping those nice and solid and using a good glue, run some short screws in there, it's really solid. It's really strong, and it's at the center of the span, so you need the most load hold capacity, so to speak. Again, probably blankets and things stored on this, so I'm not parking trucks on it. But created those 2 additional shelves, nicely braced and framed. Those are going to work great, and that's kind of the in and out spot for when we're putting stuff in and out quite a bit. So once it was all framed in, then cut the plywood up to fit to each shelf. And interestingly enough, the back of the shelf is a 1/4 inch thinner than the front of the shelf. And the original carpenter did a really good job in disguising that, because I didn't notice it until I got my tape measure out. Which, by the way, it's always a good idea to measure everything from every direction, because that'll save you those kind of surprises. And I'd have wasted some boards if I had cut to the wrong dimension. So I had to cut at a slight angle, make those fit in very nicely. So boom, 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 just worked my way up to the top, got everything set up really nice, and then with some screws into the framing, it's not going to go anywhere. Didn't need a lot of screws, didn't need big screws, because gravity kind of works in your favor. You just don't want to move it around. And then put a coat of primer on it, then put a coat of paint on it, and there you go. We've got a very nice, useful, open shelving unit now, as opposed to the drawers that you could hardly get open, and frankly, some of them were a little broken out. I calculated the space in the drawers and the space in the open shelving, and according to my cubic inches, it's about 4 times more usable space. Because besides dead space on the sides, there was dead space in the back, and you've got dead space between the shelves, also between the drawers also. So there's a lot of space that just wasn't even useful. So we've got that together, cleaned up really nicely, and now we've got some very usable and easy in and out space added to our house, which frankly, it's a nice house, but it's a little light on storage space. So there you go. feel free to add questions or comments if you have any, and sign it off.